I'm just waiting for YouTube just to confirm. We'll be with you in a second. I'm just waiting for this to upload. Just a second. Yeah, I think we are there. Just waiting for the video to show up. Yeah, it's all good. Good. So, hello everyone. And I got a little delay on my own image here now. I don't know if you can hear me and see me okay.
Yeah, absolutely fine.
Oh, good. Oh, cool. I think it's just my computer being a bit like slow in there, so it's so good. So welcome to episode 45. So it's like getting there.
Oh my word, that's number 9. That's really out of what we're going to talk about today as well.
Exactly. It's like kind of, is it ending of a cycle, isn't it? Number
Yeah,
9 and so on.
powerful number, which is really apt for today's topic.
Good. And then, oh, no, okay, Siri, you don't need to find anything. And with today's topic, it's very interesting, like, because I came a little bit late. Usually we meet at a certain time, and Amanda had a little bit more time, like, to meditate. And it's interesting because I do that as well when I have an opportunity of, like, I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes that someone is a little bit late. I kind of just take that quiet time. It's like sometimes I close my eyes, sometimes I, just reflect a little bit, and it's when you're open for this, then like some insights come true, some ideas come true, even if it's those 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I think there is something, I know we mentioned Eckhart Tolle in one of the previous episodes as well, but he talks about that there is no waiting, there is just being, and we can choose to be on that moment. And I feel it's a beautiful reflection there. So that's just a mini kind of like bracket, like in between what we're going to talk today. On the last episode, we talk about the 16 personalities. We talk about the birth chart. I had a brief look on, on mine. If you guys want to have a look at those things, it's on the previous episode as well. There's a link. Amanda have done some of that as well. And I love how she took that on. Like, she looked into the 16 personalities. We got a very similar personality in there, which is the mediator. We had done the 16 personalities, but we spoke about, also the differences. I have one of my ex-clients. She's also had a very, very similar personality, but she's more to the extrovert. So she gets more energy from being out on the outside with more people, and like the more people is around, the more energy she gets. The introvert, on the other hand, is more kind of like having more space for themselves, more time, and so on. So there's no right or wrong in there. And Amanda beautifully put it out there. We can look into those traits, those personalities and everything, and then come back to who we really are, which is like that bigger perspective, stuff that we spoke on the last episode as well, where it's like, we can be that manager, for example, and then we can step back and be myself again. We can be the mom, for example, and then step back and be ourselves. We can be the helper or the person who is being helped and so on, and come back to the essence of who we really are. And we even tap into law of attraction and how we create things. And that will be an interesting episode. So hang on in there. It'll be fun. And then let's go for it.
Well, good morning, everyone that's here with it. Or good day.
Good day, afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, and lovely to have you here with us. And yeah, I was just lost in your. I love how the way you have a little chat and then you bring it all together, which is beautiful. And I love the fact that you brought in as well that there is no waiting. So anytime that we suddenly have, oh, I have some time, it's a beautiful opportunity. And it's so lovely you brought that up to just say, I've been given some time. So nothing's needed practically, physically out there. So I'm going to use this time to just open my mind, open my heart. And yeah, leading on to what we were saying, we that little us, that little mind, that little me, that human me that's kind of forgotten the greater that it is, its soul, its higher self, source that it comes from, life, love. It comes from love, really. And love is unlimited, it's creative, it's abundant, it's prosperous, it's unifying, it's precious, it's valuable. And whenever we get lost in that little me, so even doing the personality tests and the birth charts, it's beautiful to sort of say, well, in a way, I am a unique soul. I am part of I'm part of everything. I'm part of the collective soul and the collective consciousness. But while I'm here, I'm also a unique vessel. Like you've got the different flowers. The flowers all have a different frequency of color, a different frequency of scent. And that's what makes it so beautiful. So when we do the personality test or the birth charts, it's beautiful to sort of have an idea of, God, actually, I'm getting a sense of my own frequency, how the light wants to work through me. But then we, again, make sure we're reconnecting with our heart, our soul, source, light, divinity, love, the universe, what you're comfortable with describing that. And then that greater light comes through that little us. So extroverted mediator, introverted mediator, how beautiful that both are needed. Nothing is right or wrong. And when we are integrated with that higher self and allowing that openness and that love and that light to course through us out into the world, we are that balanced, aligned who we really are. So there is no right or wrong, there isn't duality. And we go, gosh, I'm starting to understand how light wants to work through me. So I am unique in how it shines through me, the vessel, what it wants me to do. But whenever I do anything from that little me alone, the ego, bless it, when it's separated and forgotten who it really is, the ego, it's got lost in the physical world, and it's lack, it's competition, it is fear. It doesn't think it's loved. It feels ultimately powerless. And that powerlessness can show itself in a different way. You can get an inferior ego where it can basically blame itself. Everything's my fault, pretty much. Or the superior ego, which will say, basically, I'm the most important thing here, and I get the power from outside of myself. And we can all fluctuate a little bit between the two. And it was really interesting because we then started talking about the law of attraction, didn't we? That led on to the law of attraction, and we're sort of saying, well, it all sounded so amazing when it all came out. And we were like, oh my God, this is so exciting, because that a part of us knows that we created all of this with source, with the universe. We are the universe. We are the light of consciousness. We are that. And that little us forgets that. And I think what happened is our kind of that little limited us, without knowing it, got hold of the law of attraction and said, oh my God, I'm the law of attraction, so I can create, I can do anything I want. And it was really exciting. But of course, if we create from that little us, are we creating from a place of love and expansiveness and unity and unlimitedness? And we know prosperity is our birthright. But if we create from that little ego, we are creating from a place of fear, competition, guilt, shame, lack, limitedness. I'm not enough, I'm not worthy enough. And that's where I think it got quite confusing, because people were going, God, I was imagining things and I was feeling what it would feel like, and it all felt great. But I didn't manifest the car. I didn't manifest the money. I didn't manifest the relationship or the career, whatever it was. And then that little me got hold of that again and went, oh, yeah, it's because I'm not enough, or I'm wrong, or I've not done this right, or so now I'm ashamed because I've been told I'm a co-creator. So, oh my God, that's only confirmed. Yeah, God, my worst fear. I'm obviously not good enough, am I? I'm obviously not that. So then that comes in, the doubt, the confusion. And then you might get somebody who has a more superior sense of egoic self. And we look at those people and go, oh my God, they're quite ruthless, even narcissistic. And they've got the money, the car, the career, they've got everything. But that's confusing to the little ego, because the little ego goes, well, oh my God, I'm not saying they're not a nice person, but that doesn't make sense. Yeah. So when we're able to go, okay, so the next step to the law of attraction is we can forgive ourselves. As we started on this path, maybe we got a little bit confused by it. Maybe we got it hold of it and didn't quite click. That's okay. We're all learning, aren't we? We don't berate the toddler because he can't run a marathon yet. We don't do that, do we? We go, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to learn to run and then we're off. So the next step with the law of attraction is, I need to take this deeper. So I can hand all that back over to light, love, source, universe, my higher self, all that I did. May I be forgiven. Got a little bit confused with that one. Get it though now. I had to get confused to work out this isn't working, is it? Because if the ego was meant to create, it would have worked on a unifying, harmonious, peaceful, loving, everybody's prosperous.
Can I just share one thing that just came to me as well as you're sharing, because this, I think that this comes quite often for people that come across the law of attraction, for whoever is new to law of attraction, or if you study a lot, about the secret law of attraction and so on. What came to me as you're saying, it's not that the law of attraction gives you what you deserve. It's not because you're a good person and then you deserve to get, the good car, the good house, the good, partner, the good this and that. It's not about deserving, because deserving comes from a place of lack as well, isn't it? From a place of, I need to prove something, I need to be a good person in order to, and everything. So yeah, it's just a little bracketing there that I feel it's something, just a realization that I had in there as you were saying, because it's not, the law of attraction is not about deserving. It's not about, if I prove that I'm a good person, then I deserve, the better relationship. Or if I'm proof that I'm a good person, say I'm not gonna suffer. I'm not gonna get sick. And I think we'll tap a little bit into what we spoke before as well, which is like, also I'm not gonna have pain. And even I know that some people even question. I know for example, from Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks. I think Jerry passed away from cancer, if I'm not wrong, as well. And then some people were like even questioning it out. Why someone that says that take the law of attraction as a life, understanding and teaching other people, dies from a illness that apparently they co-created and so on. So it's an interesting topic there.
I think I love the fact you've really brought that in and highlighted that, because it's kind of breaks your heart really when you see people, then they just beat themselves up even more. Gosh, well, I must not be worthy. This is just confirming I am shame, aren't I? I didn't manifest the money, the car, the career, whatever it is. And that's why I think it's a beautiful thing to talk about today, because it's that, we just need to go deeper with this, because when we live from our heart, and that's where, when we spend time during our day, just going to breathe, going to come out my head, going to go into my heart, going to open up my heart. I'm going to say, hey, I'm here. I'm going to hand all of myself over to that. And that's when we remember that we always were 100% worthy, 100% valuable, precious. And that's where we create from. And it might look slightly different on the outside. I know for you, Junior, you do wonderful work, me included, helping people to live their purpose in the unique way that they are. And we know now, don't we, that whether you're a brain surgeon, a candle maker, when you bring that light of who you are through into this world, it really doesn't matter what you do. That's the absolute power, isn't it? And it's the ego that will go, no, but they're a brain surgeon, so they are better than the candlestick maker, surely. We're moving out of all this, aren't we? We're moving out of the that comparison is such an egoic thing to do, and it's so ingrained in us when we live from that that little humanness, yeah, it's so ingrained, isn't it? Even in roles and relationships, well, I think I'm more important to you than that person, because it's competition, isn't it? And I don't think we realize how much competition really is so ingrained in us. And it's when we are able to even surrender that and say, well, if I can live from this place of unity, collectiveness, if you're okay, then that makes me okay. Yeah. And this competition keeps us very separate, it's very limited, it's very painful. And it's releasing all of those sides of ourselves. I know we've talked about using the word God, it can put people off. And so even if you say to yourself, I'm going to open myself up to, there's a bigger me. There's something even bigger than me. I can call it source, universe. There's something that's good. I came from that. I am that. There's a part of me that temporarily forgot that. It got lost in the physical world. It got lost in beliefs that weren't true. And you know what? What if today I can forgive myself for that? I forgot. What if I can forgive life for letting me forget that? What if I can forgive all of us for doing that? What if I can say, God, I'm sorry, I forgot. And it's been really painful. I've gone down so many twists and turns. I've done so many 3-point turns. I got myself dizzy. And I know something Junior and I talked about. People say, well, how can I say thank you to suffering? And we say, no, the pain is something, yes, that we teach and we learn through, and we get that new understanding. And that's what we thank. We thank the new understanding that all those twists and turns, the suffering caused us, but we still honor that part of ourselves that lived through the suffering. And that comes from a place of power. So we don't have to thank and say, oh, that pain, it was great. No, that pain still hurt. The suffering, whenever we believe that we're unworthy, that is so painful to our hearts. And so many of us live from that because we've forgotten. And it's pain, it makes me cry, it's painful. And it's when we can say, that pain was always trying to teach me something. And I'm starting to get the new understanding from that. I'm starting to get the liberation. I'm starting to get the freedom. I'm starting to allow more love and light in. But that little me, that human me that experienced that hurt, and I wrap my arms around it and I tell it it's okay. It's all right, sweetheart. It's all right, darling. And I'm so sorry you had to suffer that, because I forgot. And I'm really sorry. And that's not to shame or guilt ourselves. It's just a humbling, isn't it? It's a humbling of. And the ego doesn't do, if the ego's inferior, it does humbling much better. But the ego struggles already with being humble. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to suffer. I'm sorry I made others suffer because I forgot. And I'm humble in that. But I even handle that over to the love, to the light, to that bigger us. We hand it all over, and we're always forgiven. I mean, I shared with you that thing I had on Sunday where all this stuff was going on. There's all sorts of battling happening. And this beautiful voice came in and just said, every atom of you is God's light and consciousness. Every atom of you is love. There's just these parts of you that forgot that and have got lost in some sort of illusion and has believed in that illusion. But every part of you is love, is prosperity, is worthiness, is valuable, is precious, is creative, which leads us on to when we create, our soul is creative. We've created planet Earth, we've created all this physical universe. When we create from that place, we create from a place that's loving. What's the good for all in this? What is the good for everybody? If I create this thing, how does it not only affect the goodness of me, how does it affect the goodness of others? And that's when we know that by giving is a massive part of creation. So if I can look at somebody who's poor and say, May you be blessed with absolute prosperity. And you know what? I've got £10 in my purse. I can afford to give you £5. So I'm going to give you £5 because if you're prosperous, so am I. And we have to be careful with this, that we don't do it from that ego of, okay, so basically if I give all my money away, oh God, I'm proving up. No, 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 no. We go deeper. So that you just have to be a little bit careful as we do this, that we don't get lost in that mind. And we laugh when we do and go, oh, did it again, gave my money away because I thought that made me more worthy. Oh, poo. You know, we can love ourselves through that. And that's what waking up is. It's remembering who we really are. And when we create from that place of, if I create this for myself, I also want to bless others with this. What would the world be like if I'm prosperous and the world is prosperous? What would the world be like if I'm feeling worthy and the world feels worthy? What would the world be like if we all lived from that love and light? Wow, what would that be like? So the ego is very self-orientated, but as we surrender that and go deep, I know this all sounds very almost religious and a bit woo-woo, but it's very real. And a lot of psychologists now are really getting in tune with this, that we thought who we are was in our head. It's really not. It's in here. It's in our guts. That's who we really are. That's who we really are. And it's when we live from that and we open our frontal cortex. Yes, that's when we do kind of receive light as well and receive ideas and creation and solution. And we do want to create on planet Earth. Good God, what if we could create a vehicle where we can just levitate? Or that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Because it cut down on fossil fuels. So what if we create a healing system where we don't need pharmaceuticals anymore that only damage the earth, they damage the body? So we still want to keep creating. What if I create a piece of music that when people listen, oh my God, it naturally heals them. It creates a frequency and a vibration that's well-being. And we love creating. It's our nature. It's our nature to create. But we're all meant to create something that we're open to creating. So did that make sense as I was sharing that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a couple of things came to my mind, like one, which is it's just kind of getting synced in with the again, we brought law of attraction to the topic, and I feel it's so relevant as well, because if we create from the ego perspective, and again, we're not demonizing the ego. Do you see what I mean? There is a functioning there, and I don't want you guys to think that just the ego shouldn't exist, it shouldn't be there, or anything like that. Is not what we're saying here. But there are some really, like, it's getting clearer to me, and I hope to you guys as well.
Yeah.
When we talk about law of attraction, there, if we create from a place of what Amanda mentioned there, competition, which is like, oh, if I have that car, I'm going to be better than the others, or if they have the car, they better than me, or if they got X results, or if they got their partner, or if I get sick so often, it means that I'm lesser than someone who is actually healthy. Do you see what I mean? So that comes from that duality of the ego that comes in there. And then there are other things that Amanda mentioned quite a few times during the live, and even before we jumped in. Like, for example, if it comes from a place of lack, which is, I need that car to prove that I'm good enough, or I need that partner to prove that I'm, a conscious creator, that I have a great relationship, or from a place of fear, or if I don't have the money, then I'm not worthy of living. I don't have enough, I can't do the stuff that I need to do.
What
And
am I
yeah,
doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Because I'm not.
what
Yeah. So there's
mhm.
shame in there, isn't there?
Yeah, if I don't have the health, for example, and I'm sick or something out, so I'm really not doing this well. Do you see what I mean? I'm not worthy of it, and so on. So it's really, I think you just make it clearer when we're creating from a place of, let's say, from the ego perspective, or we're creating from a deepest perspective of ourselves as well, in that sense of like connecting to who we really are. And even when Amanda mentioned few things like, for example, it just escaped from my mind, but there was a part in there where you're sharing like, okay, I'm creating, oh, the money idea, for example, you gave the £5, for example, and
Yeah.
then you can feel inside of you, where is it coming from? Is it from my ego, like, oh, I'm giving this because I'm better than you and I can give you that money?
I'm proving I'm good. Look,
Mean that I'm a good person, that I'm actually giving, and like, even if you do it without, and I'm not going to show to anyone, because that is to so in order for me to get more money because I'm good enough and I deserve to get that money and so on, or the other way around, where I have to show it to everyone to prove that I'm a good person, regardless of someone is seeing or not, is what is the feeling, the vibration inside of you that is actually
yeah.
creating the next step and the next.
So it's so amazing what you're saying, because when we give from that place of who we really are, that wholeness, we know we are prosperous and abundant. So it's it's kind of, well, I can give that. Have I got this to give? Yes, because I know that by making that, I'm just bringing more prosperity in.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, Gina, that you said it's that, what, but where am I doing this from? And you'll know, because if you're giving it and there's still fear there, you'll know. And it's trusting how something
You
feels,
can,
isn't
you
it?
can do this. I mean, I feel law of attraction is just a beautiful teacher for this as well, where you can feel these things, because
Oh,
I've been in so many of those levels, and it's still being GC where, okay, so I'm gonna visualize this, so then I can create that. Do you see what I mean? And then, oh, and then some stuff work and some stuff doesn't work, and I was like, why is it? Because I've done all the same steps again, and I created visualizing the same way, but the vibration, the emotion behind, the reason behind, it's what I think Neil Donald Walsh talks about, the sponsoring thought, the thought behind the thought. Do you see what I mean? The feeling behind the feeling that is actually creating, that is coming from.
yeah,
And even like when you, let's say, the giving the money, for example, it can come from a place of like, you genuinely, okay, I'm helping this person, I know that there is enough for me. Do you see what I mean? There is enough for them, there is enough, there will be more, there is an abundance, let's say, mindset that came through. But even if you just twist a little bit, or you shift a little bit, like, okay, so in order for me to feel abundant, I'm going to give you this, and then I'm going to feel abundant. Can you see that it's just shifted
yeah.
slightly again, and it doesn't come from the same place anymore?
I love that, Junie, because it's all about how something feels, isn't it? And that's what we've talked about a lot, isn't it? That self-awareness of, and both you and I do sort of deeper meditations in the morning, at night, but then throughout the day, when we talked about checking in, where am I? You said about the busy motorway with the thoughts. Am I just, I'm off? Oh, where's Amanda Gomegy? Oh, they've just been dragged down the motorway. They'll be back maybe in a few days. We don't know. And it's that, it's okay, not beat ourselves up, but can I just, can I just say, it's okay. I'm gonna calm, gonna make myself relaxed, take my attention into my body, gonna use my breathing. And then I'm going to allow light to come into me. If there's anything here that is of a lower frequency, a false belief that doesn't match the truth of who I am, I'm going to hand that over. I'm sorry, I forgot, God, that caused a lot of suffering. God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I did that. I forgot. And hand all that over, because that's all the illusion anyway. So any fears, competition, contrasts. And then what's beautiful is, as you do that on every level, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, ethereal, when you release that, you bring in more of that light of who you are. And then that comes through that little me. So the bigger I am, then comes through that little me. And then you, as you say, you can then create, because I absolutely know you're meant to be doing what you're doing, Junior, because I know you help so many people. Because a huge quest at the minute is living a life of purpose, isn't it? For a lot of us, as we're waking up, we want to live a life of purpose. So you are that unique frequency that you're meant to be. So we don't want your little I am to be my little I am, because we're meant to be different. We're meant to all be different flowers, different scents.
To have different experiences as well, and it's not blaming or shaming the experiences that we go through, and it can be, you know, like, and again, it's just like when the ego compares, I mean, this experience was better than this one, or this suffering shouldn't have happened, or this should have happened, and so on. It's just removing all these shoulds and ought tos and so on, and actually it is going back to being present, being accepting where we are, getting back to who we really are in that sense. And then we can create from that. I mean, we're creating all the time anyway. Do you see what I mean? We create every single time, consciously or subconsciously. You're creating this. Everything that we have around us, it's because we've chosen to be. I mean, I know it's a deeper topic. We can, you know, talk about it, but it's our little choices. You see what I mean? I've chosen to accept, you know, being in a plane and being in Austria and being with the people that I'm around, to be where I am right now, to be on this call. Do you see? There is acceptance, 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 choice, 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 choice that makes us feel where we are. You know, even like when like looking at simple things like the picture behind, you know, Amanda, it's a choice of letting that picture coming through, even if it's a gift or buying it or whatever. It's all choices that we make along the way, and we're creating the environment, the people around us, and so on. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I wish it was different. So then, but it's not coming from a ego perspective where I have to create in a different way. It's like, okay, how can I come back to myself? And I feel, I love the clarity that you brought up for today's call, Amanda, which is like, okay, am I creating this from a place of, like, I was just taking note, like from a place of competition again? I want to be looking better than someone else, or I look worse than someone else. And the ego can go from any of those spectrums as well, because it can make you from looking good. Do you see what I mean? It can kind of, you know, you can feel that identity growing up. I'm better than you because I have this car, or I'm inferior than you, and that creates an identity as well. And I'm never good enough. I'm never gonna be that person. I'm never, do you see what I mean? And it feeds from that identity in that way as well. And I'm not worthy, and I'm not, you know, I need things, but I'm never gonna get it. I'm always sick, and so on. So all of that is kind of feeding from that identity there. And how to release from it is just going back to who we really are.
Yeah.
And then it's just that kind of practice that we talk every day, that brushing your teeth every day of.
And Julie, I love this, because we're saying, aren't we, that, and also it's that knowing, and we can take labels off if people aren't, you know, what people are comfortable with, but it's that thing of that little me thinks it's got to do it all by itself. And that's where it gets really hard, difficult. But I've got to create the money. I've got to create the prosperity. And it's not meant to do, it's like handing too much over to a child. I mean, right, child, you've got to run the world now. That child would freak out. He's not meant to run the world. That little human isn't meant to be doing all that. So it's when we can just sort of surrender to that deeper place, that source, life, universe, goodness, love, God, divinity. I'm going to hand that all over, and then it's going to work with me and through me, this unique vessel. The daffodil, the violet, the buttercup, the daisy, the rose, the gypsophila. It just lets source run through it. And how beautiful that it manifests in that. But the little rose isn't saying, I've got to be the best rose and I'm better than the daffodil. It's not. It's just like, oh my God, I've got a beautiful scent. And I read this thing about saying roses as a frequency of scent is close to the feeling of love. And that's why we use roses in sort of romantic as a gesture of love, because the scent is very similar to the frequency of love. So it's just funny, Jean, you talk about this picture, because it was a mistake. I was
Really, I
I,
mean,
I was meant to order a smaller sized one to go in a frame, but when it came, my husband was laughing at me going, "You are numbered." I think I'm slightly number dyslexic, if I'm honest. I think I am. And it came, and he was like, "Oh, what?" But part of me was like, "I love it. I'm so glad I made the mistake." And then we got a wooden frame put on, and I'm like, "I love it. It's trees." And so it was a mistake that I think my higher self made, because I adore it. My husband was laughing at me. I did a similar thing at Christmas. My son rock climbs. I wanted to get him a little poster to inspire. He got right to the top, and I took a photo of him. But when it came, it was almost this size. And we were all laughing again. You can't put that in your wall. I mean, that does look quite. Can you imagine being a girl home? Yeah, that's me. Giant size picture of me on my wall. So yeah, that didn't get well. That was a mistake. Wasn't meant to happen. Lesson. So yeah, mistakes can
but
be.
again, it's just in the same, not mistakes. There is a reason behind it. Do you
Yeah,
see, even with what we made and we learn from it and so on. So
yeah. I mean, we had a good laugh. I think that was.
that's the reason. You see, we got a good laugh in there,
We've
and
had
you sharing that laugh now as well, which is, you see, it's
yeah,
continuing.
it was
Good.
funny.
I think we can wrap the episode now as well. It's just like from, yeah. Do you know conclude, and then I'll close up the conclusion.
I,
Yeah.
I love the way you conclude that, and I think for me it's this, that little me that's forgotten. It's part of this amazing, loving, support, caring, nurturing. This life adores us, and we are precious, and yet it doesn't want us to suffer. So I know whenever we wake up and get the new understanding, which means we don't have to suffer on something anymore, it's glad for us. It's glad for us. So remember that you're not on your own with this. Tap into that feeling. There's something here with me. And yeah, I use the word God, and I think you the words universe and life, but it's good, and it's loving, and it's peaceful, but it's joyful, it's blissful, and it wants you to return to that place. And you'll always be that unique frequency. You'll always be that unique vessel. But what you realize is you are part of everything else. So if you're okay, others are okay. If others are okay, you're okay. Free will comes in. We can't make somebody wake up. We can't make somebody stop suffering. We can't do that. We can wish it for them, and we can bless them with it. But by us becoming prosperous, loving, peaceful, creative, joyful, blissful, when we become that in the world, we bring that energy in, and we make it more possible for the ones that have forgotten that. That's just so sometimes I think we've been taught to hide our line. So I've found now, no matter whether they'll say, "Do you know, I'm really good," because I think it's not to make them feel bad if they're not. It's not to be insensitive. But once I've listened to them, and they'll say, "How?" and say, "Do you know what? I'm so sorry to hear that you're suffering. I'm so sorry. But you've asked about me, and I have to say, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good." Because it's important, isn't it, to remember that as we bring this through, we do bring it through for others, because people look at you and go, "God, you've got such a beautiful relationship." And so it's possible.
Yeah, I feel
It's
you
possible.
call that in a beautiful way. I always like that analogy as well. You can't, you know, that analogy of a candle light, for example. It's not about blowing your candle, blowing your light away that will make someone else, shine their light. But it's about you keeping hold and protecting that light that you have, so others can lean into it and actually be warmed and lead their own light. But if blow your light away, that won't allow them to actually find out that it's possible, that they can actually see, even if they don't have the light, but now they can actually see something because your light is shining and can show the way, can show the direction as well. So if you can, come from a place of being, good, feeling good with yourself, healthy with yourself, or being happy, or being, work on your own, finding your own path in that way, you will, that's the best way that you can actually allow other people to find their own path, because you being that light that will shine and show the direction there as well. So guys, yeah, thank you so much for this episode. I know we mentioned a bit, just to conclude in terms of the law of attraction, there are moments where we feel like, oh, this is not working. Why is it, what I mean? And we have those questions and so on. Our intention with this episode is not to say like, this is the way that you will use law of attraction and so on, but it's more about for you to reflect. It doesn't have to actually work in the way that our ego, our mind thinks it's going to work. It's not about being worthy of receiving whatever it is in that sense. It's about reconnecting to who you are. And you can, start using what we call the law of attraction in a good way, in a way that it's connected to, I'm worthy of this. I'm love. I'm light. I'm, and not from a place of competition, need, and lack, and so on. And again, it's just a practice. It's not saying you're gonna get it. It's all fine, and I'm the best,
No.
law of attraction creator in the world now, and I'm gonna be the example. You know what I mean? I'm the. It's not. It's about. It's your own journey, and it will be moments where you're really like, oh, that feels good. I got a new car. I got a new relationship. I got this. You know what I mean? There'll be moments where like, interesting. What is it that I've been, and just reconnecting, just going back to yourself, which allow you to realign and go back.
And I love that, Julie. It's we create from within. The ego creates from. If
Mm.
I create that from outside of me, then I'll feel better. But when we create from within, what do I want? I want to feel loving. I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel blissful. I want to feel prosperous. I want to feel connected. I want to feel unconditional love. When that's what we're living from, and that's the work, isn't it? Where am I living from within myself? And releasing all the things that I don't believe that. And that's when, of course, you're going to create prosperity, because you know you're prosperous. So yeah.
Good, guys. So thank you again for watching our episode up until here. Do you see what I mean? I know that some of them are a little bit longer than the others as well. But if you like this episode, remember to press the like. If there is something that you feel like, this was creating even more confusion in my head, feel free, to comment on the comments below. If you disagree with something that we said as well, it would be awesome to hear your perspective to it as well. If there is something that we haven't spoken about, but you're like, oh, I would love, to have a little bit deeper, I don't know, conversation, or for you guys to have a chat about this as well, then you can use the comments. If this kind of chat is something that you enjoy and you have fun with as well, then I would love you to be part of our little, community, and join and subscribe to our channel as well. And I think that's it. So I'll see you guys on the next episode, and I'll see you soon. All the best there.
Love. Bye for now.
Bye bye.